Hi everyone, hopefully I'm live after all that confloption and confluxion when I forget to put things on board, so apologies for being an idiot and not being ready to start properly, but I am ready to start now, and the recording is only going to be from this, so I managed not to record myself faffing about, but I'm sure you'll really enjoy the faffing about if you happen to see it. Well, like I said, I'm on this subject of climate change and how it affects us and what's called eco-anxiety. And I've been meeting it a lot in other people the past couple of weeks. So I thought it was worth talking about again. And I'm going to start off by sharing my screen and give you a picture to give you an idea. So hopefully this is actually happening and we are sharing screen. And you're getting this. This is what we've known all our lives. But this is what we're told by the experts, and they really are in this case, is going to be, or could be, even has a very strong possibility of being, certainly in large parts of the earth. I was just reading an article on California and Arizona, and they're regularly having temperatures of 150 degrees, 150 degrees Fahrenheit, that is, in American. And people are just moving out. The land is getting like this, and it's burning, and there are always forest fires. So nature is just being burnt out, literally. And there's no water because they've dammed it all off. They've messed with the rivers. They've mucked it up. There are far too many people living there. Everybody wants to water their lawn. Grass actually doesn't need watering very much. At that stage, the grass will come back. It's going to have a hard job there, but it will come back there. So we see this happening, not necessarily here in Britain, but I'm sure some of you are in places where it's getting a bit noticeable. Australia is another place which is having a lot of difficulties. Parts of Africa, parts of Asia, parts of South America. We're noticing things here. I mean, today I've been getting 30-mile-an-hour winds. Now, this is mid-May. I should be out there enjoying the sunshine. Not necessarily ultra hot yet or anything like that, but it shouldn't be wind like this. And it's overcast, but not raining. So the clouds are up there. But because of the way the winds are going and everything else, it's making it really difficult for it to rain. So I'm getting anxious. So are a lot of people that I know. And gradually hope I'm beginning with a group of local people where we can all hopefully get to doing something in a small way here, which will actually help. And that's one of the troubles. Let's stop sharing for the moment and let me go to my bit of writing, what I got on my Word. And what we're afraid of, and even afraid of voicing very often, is that we're in the middle of huge climatic changes and extinctions, and they're already causing almost irrevocable damages and change to planet Earth. And it's getting us with chronic fear. Now, the word chronic means long-lasting, lingering, unremitting, like the wind has been today, unrelieved, ever-present. And all of those things Well, they're not even good when it's unremitting sunshine, are they? Sometimes you want a little bit of dark, a bit of shade, possibly a slight change. Must be different if you live further south. But even so, there are changes in the weather. But if something is always going to be like that dark half of the picture we just looked at, and you're afraid that it could all end up like that, it's pretty devastating. And one of the worst things that happens, and is a real problem and cause of eco-anxiety, is that we, the little people, the ordinary everyday folks, we see this happening. And we read the article about Arizona, and we see the problems that the local farmer is having because he hasn't had enough rain and his grass isn't growing. So he's not getting the feed for his cattle. Little thing, sounds like nothing, doesn't it? We can go and buy hay, can he? What if that grass isn't growing? It's happening everywhere in Britain and maybe in Europe too. Where is he going to get the hay from? Who's going to be able to make hay? Who's going to be able to make silage? Who's going to be able to make food for the animals? Who's going to be able to grow food for us? Even vegetable food, because that requires water and it requires not massive winds all the time. I grow apples because I eat apples, and my trees are all covered in blossom, various stages. Some of them are going over a bit and some of them are just starting, but they're all covered in blossom. Now, if we keep on getting really strong winds, they will blow all that blossom off. And it doesn't matter then because the apples can't grow. The winds also will blow all the pollinating insects away. They won't be able to come out and pollinate the apple trees. So the apple trees wouldn't be able to grow for that reason either. And we know this. We little people, we gardeners, farmers, ordinary people. But it seems like all these important people don't see it. They say, oh, it'll be all right. Technology will fix it. We'll have a new app on your phone which can sort it all out, or some kind of shit like that. COP26 back last October, that was, as my husband very rightly said, was about as much real use to anybody as an ashtray on a motorbike. It was tons of hot air promises, but no action. We were fobbed off again. We promised to do it all by 2025. We promised to do it all by 2030. We promised to do it all sometime in the future. If there is a future. That's what comes back to each of us. Is there a future? I don't like it. Because of the pathway that I follow, I feel that there is a future, but I also feel it's going to be bloody tough. And that doesn't actually help at all either. At least I've got the feeling that there is a future. But most people, the people that I've been meeting over the last couple of weeks, they're really sad and unhappy and worried and anxious, and they're angry and they feel powerless and helpless. And they feel guilty because they think, I used hairspray, I had that sort of a fridge, I've been burning too much petrol, I've been going on too many flying holidays, I've been doing things wrong. And then they see the important people again flying into COP, having their meals flown in, you know, so you've got caviar flown in from Russia or something like this. And they're sort of going, but I didn't go to Spain this year, I didn't do any flying, but they're doing this COP thing, but it's okay for them to have their caviar flown in, but it's not okay for me to go on holiday? Yeah, like that. So we all feel really screwed up, let down, as though the people who are supposed to be doing things, because we elected them for that, they're all full of duplicity and treachery, and they don't support us or care about us probably at all. A of course, all of that screws up our digestion and our sleep and everything else like that. And then that screws up my daily life. And then that screws up my relationships. And then that screws up my work. And I'm a complete bloody disaster area. Well, as you know, I'm not, because I will say it again, because of following the old ways. And I'm finding that my students are coping a lot better too, because they've now got some of the tools and they're using them to help them get through this. There's a hell of a lot of people who haven't. So what are we going to do? Well, I said, I've recently joined this group of locals. And I met half a dozen seemingly very nice people. Some of them, they really certainly are, because I've got to know them quite well already, just in a few days. And the others, we're meeting and we're getting to talk to each other and we're getting to say, what can we do? And one of the things that I'm hoping is going to take off, because we've got some friends in this already, and hopefully they will be able to help us, is sorting out verges, road verges. Road verges are usually left to be mashed by some form of slasher or cutting instrument like that. On the big roads, it's usually some kind of slasher or mowing machine that just goes straight across the lot. Animals live in there, insects live in there, birds live in there. And they don't care. Well, I mean, the birds and the animals and the insects do, but the people who are doing all the slashing, the council workers being told, just do it, get on with it. So they're killing habitat regularly. So I want us, and we've got quite a lot of verge along the A49, which would really be useful to do. And we could do something about it. Our hedges are really quite good up here. I went along counting them earlier this year, and within the usual sort of 50 yards that I did, I was getting like 50 species. Different grasses, different plants, different bushes, different everything like that, different trees even. So our hedges aren't too bad, but the poor verges are just being killed. They just want green desert that looks tidy. So maybe we can do something about that. And that will actually help all sorts of critters, including things like buzzards and kestrels who actually hunt in those sort of places. So we're getting together, we're talking to each other, and we're starting to listen to each other, and we're starting to give each other ideas. We're sharing. And I hope, and we're right at the beginning, so, don't hold your breath yet, but I'm hoping that it will make a difference, and that it will make a difference to each of us too, because we'll feel, I have done something. We've got some other little things happening in Shropshire, and one of them is some of the farmers and some of the shops have got together, little shops, I mean, not big supermarkets, little local shops. And the farmers come along and they fill up this huge vat of milk every day with fresh milk from their cows. And people come along and they've got their old milk bottle, your old plastic milk bottle, and they've cleaned it out and they take it along and they refill it from the vat. And then they go and pay for the milk. And the plastic is reused, reused, reused. Yeah, eventually it gives up and then you get a new milk bottle. But just think, all that plastic is not having to be recycled, is not having to be dealt with in some way that has got a huge energy and ecological footprint. We're just reusing it ourselves. So I want to share screen again. I think this is important. So let's see if I can do this thing and get us my next picky. If I can get my next picky. Where's my next picky? Right, let's find it. Come on. No, I want that. Thank you very much. Now, where has it gone? No, that is not the one I wanted. Oh, I've lost it. I'm sorry, people, A's going to have to go and look for it again. If you can just sort of hang in there and talk amongst yourselves while I just go and hunt up this picture again, because I have stupidly managed to mess with it, dump it. You know what you do. Oh yeah, I'm hopeless like that. But I am thinking it's just so important that we learn these little things for ourselves, and we learn to do them for ourselves, because they really, really, really will help. And they will make a difference. Here we go. Let's try this one. So if I get back to me, this is hopeless, you know, I am an idiot. But I am getting there. Really, I am getting there. There we go. That's what I want. So there. And hopefully it's arrived somewhere. Come on, show windows there. No, that's not quite what I meant, you silly creature. And it's still not coming up properly. This is hopeless. This is very, very bad. I feel very bad about this to you all. But I will get there. I promise you. We'll go back and unshare this and share again. Spend half my life, don't I, telling you that I am going to share the screen with you. There, look, it's come up. Well done, that picture. Goodness knows why it didn't come up before. There. Now, I really like this one because it goes, all the things we can do. Rethink our choices. So I can choose that I'm going to use local milk. I know how it's grown. I've met the cows, which I can do quite easily around here. I know the farmer's good, and he's just brought it a few miles, maybe only 10 at the most, maybe less, to the shop, fills up the tanker, you know, the tanker in the shop, the tank, and I take my clean used milk bottle along, and I do that instead of going to the supermarket and buying milk in new plastic and throwing that new plastic away and having it all have to be recycled or just burned or just buried. So I'm also, part of my rethinking is I'm refusing single use. So I'm refusing single use on that milk bottle. I'm going to do more. I'm going to use my milk bottle again. Great. I can do that in other ways too. I mean, I don't know about you, but I save quite a lot of pots and things that I get, and I'll grow my seeds on in them as well. So there's lots of things you can do. And reduce consumption. Well, I do. One of my biggest that I reduce consumption on is I really do reduce my consumption of petrol, because I grow a lot of my own vegetables. I only go down to the local shop to get the milk and any other vegetables that are locally grown again that I can get there, instead of all those miles into the supermarket and then all those miles back again. It may seem only little, but it isn't. It's actually enormous if we all do it. I don't use plastic bags. I don't take plastic bags when I go to a shop. I've got Hessian bags that I take. They're in the boot of the car if I'm needing the car, which I do because it's at least 2 miles walk to anything from here. So I get them and then I fill those up and then I take them home again. And yes, eventually, like the milk bottles, they will wear out. But they're also the Hessians, so I can actually just put, when it's got too many holes in, I just put it in the compost and it goes round and it makes more plants for me. So that's 2 pieces of consumption reduction that I do. But also the vegetables that I eat, I only need to pick what I need every day. I don't have to buy, 500 grams or a kilo or whatever the supermarket feels that is the right number that I should have. And I don't know about you, but half a kilo of carrots, and just talking about me on my own, I can't eat that in a week, by which time they've gone off. So they're wasted. They go in my compost if I got them. But again, I've had all that petrol to get them. They've had all the petrol to be taken to the shop. They've had all the wrapping that you always end up with in any kind of bloody supermarket place. So I'm refusing that consumption, reducing it. I reuse everything if I can. Let me think, what have I got on? Well, what I'm wearing, I've had this for years. And I've had, if I can see bits of my t-shirt underneath, I've had this for even more years. Loads and loads of years, probably about 10 or 12. It's a bit holey, but it goes underneath things and it's fine when I'm gardening. And I've got a couple of nice ones that I can wear if I'm going out. Even with that, I've had my slippers for ages. I've had my boots for ages. I haven't bought any new crockery or cutlery for 30 years, probably. So I'm reusing everything that I can. I do keep bits of string, unless they're sort of that long and absolutely no use to me. I do all sorts of reusing, like reusing. I buy creme fraiche because I like creme fraiche and I can get it, good stuff, locally. And it comes in a little plastic pot. I haven't worked out anything to do with the lid yet, but the pots get reused for either putting things in, just, you know, to hold something, like holding a load of paper clips or something, or to plant plants in, plant seeds in. And eventually they give up, and after a couple of uses, so they've been reused. Lots and lots of reuse that we can do. Refurbish old stuff. Well, I do. I'm not very good at it. But I will find a use for something if I possibly can. And I will try and reuse it and make it look a bit better and see if I can't tidy it up a bit. I mean, all my furniture's like that. It's all been refurbished and brushed up, and some of it needs it again. And I'm going to have to get somebody else to do that because these hands just don't do it. Sorry, no good anymore. And that goes the same with repairing. But I do repair things before I replace them. I've got a table that we're going to use as part of the festival, and it has those sort of rubber ferrules on the bottom of the thing. And it needs them because otherwise they're just going to dig into the ground where we're going to have the table. So one of them's got missing somewhere since last year. So my husband has said, I could use one of those corks from a wine bottle and I could stick that in there and that would work. Good on him. Repurpose. What have I got to repurpose around here? Not actually a lot in this room that I can see, but I do repurpose things. Desperately looking around to see if I've got anything. I didn't, but well, upstairs I've got some nice cups that I liked, but they've got cracks in them, and so now they are becoming holders for something else. I will also use a cup that I don't particularly want to use for drinking to put flowers in or something like that, or to hold things. There's so much you can do. Be inventive, as it says. Reinvent the thing. And if all else fails, I recycle it. I do recycling in the terms of compost every blooming day because, you know, I've made my tea. I'll have a drink of it. Made the tea bag goes in the compost and it will become soil for the strawberries and the vegetables and the fruit and everything else. So we can do a lot. And if we all actually do this, then it's going to make a difference. And a lot of us do, but an awful lot of us don't. And so we actually need to help people, encourage them to rethink everything and reuse it and rework it. There was a lovely article, I'm going to stop sharing this for the moment. If you get on my Facebook page, Wise Woman, I think it is, but it's probably on both. No, it's on both. And there was a lovely article, actually from the BBC News, that instead of mining and digging great holes in Mother Earth's body to pull out, copper and silver and iridium and all the rest of the stuff that we want to make, mobile phones with or something, or make this computer with, anything like this. Instead of digging in the earth, those old ones, when you give up your mobile phone and it goes, then you can actually recycle so much of the contents, even the plastic outside. And certainly all the metals you can recycle them. So you can make new mobile phones out of old. Why aren't we doing this already? Why aren't we doing this? We need to be. It really, really is important that we actually change. And once we get into doing this kind of thing, it actually helps to relieve a bit of that eco-anxiety. Helps to feel that you're doing something. You don't need to feel so guilty because you are doing things to help put it right, even. And that really makes a big difference to everybody. So we're doing things. We're changing and we're doing things. And it's just little things for us. And I hope too that part of the group will be about rewilding and rewilding our hearts, because as you know, that's one of my big things. And I found this too a little while ago. So let's see if we can share this, if it happens to be on my blooming thing here, which it should be. Yes, it is. Goody, goody. Got it. I like this. There's more you can do, and more that I will encourage you to do and help you to do in all sorts of ways. But one of the biggest ones is to connect to nature again. Now, I'm on this festival this year. We have a festival in Shropshire the last couple of years, and I'm part of the team. And it's about reconnecting with nature, reconnecting with the wild. And we need to do it. We need to actually get there. And these are ways you can do it. Now, let's go down, not across. Easy one. Get to know your local herbs and plants. And that's one of the things that I want to do, and do online as well as in the little local group that we've got here. So I'm hoping to do little tiny webinars about getting to know local plants. What's this? What's it for? How can we use it? Have you got some in your garden? Have you got some in the hedge when you go for a walk with the dog, or on your own? Because I didn't have a dog. And noticing the animals. And luckily here we have lots and lots. But even in the park, you're going to see squirrels. And you may be lucky and see a rabbit, or you might even be really lucky and see something like a stoat. And you will see animals. And in towns, you do see foxes. You can even see badgers. So you will see animals. And if you go out, or you live outside and you go for a walk in a wildlife reserve or on the moors or something like that, you very likely will see animals. So you can notice them. And don't just walk along, listen, with your headphones on. For God's sake, don't go out for a walk with your headphones on. Don't. You need to listen to everything. And you will notice them, and you will hear them. And you'll hear the birds. And if you go out in the dusk in the summer, you may be lucky and you'll hear the bats and see the bats come over you. And no, they won't get tangled in your hair. They're really clever. They're not going to do that. So you connect and you get to know what the life is around you, the plants and the animals. And every day, walk a bit with bare feet. Just walk a little bit with bare feet, preferably outside, even on the lawn, even on the path, but try it. it makes a difference, and you really feel, and you can feel all the bits under your feet, just as I am on my hand here. It makes such a difference to you. And like I said, turn off your phone. For a whole day is a really great idea, but at least when you're not at work needing it, don't have it on in the evening. Do something else. Do something learning about your plants, getting on a wildlife webinar to watch badgers. I'm going to watch badgers tomorrow in Scotland because they're doing a live webinar of watching badgers. Do that instead of listening to your phone. Use it, and I'm not against phones, but don't live on it. Put it down. Leave there. And actually spend time naked. I don't have a problem with this, and I never have. But many people I know, they're even embarrassed to be naked to themselves. And for goodness sake, this is your body, okay? You know, it may not be some glorious model or film star or something like that. It's yours. And it's actually okay. It's looking after you as best it can. If you look at it a bit more, you might notice it a bit more, and you might start connecting with it and learning about it and learning what it would want. There's all sorts of changes that does. And it's something that, again, that I work with the apprentices. Let's look at ourselves. Now, what does body say? Body would like to wear. Body would like to eat. Body would like to do. Works. And dancing. Well, again, I don't have a problem with this because I used to be a dancer semi-professionally. I used to dance as a illustrator, you know, the person in front of the class who does the group while the teacher is teaching. And I used to do that for Arlene Phillips classes. So I used to be quite reasonable. Not anymore. I'm too old, unfortunately. But dance. Let it go. Do what you want to do. Be a bit crazy. Be wild. And sometimes just sit beneath a tree. I want to change the sharing. Dancing and shimmying your bodies, all that sort of thing. But I want to change it now and change it to a different share because there's some really good share on here that I want to show you, that I want you to be with. It says there, sit beneath a tree. But how about that? Just put yourself against a tree. Her eyes are shut, her cheeks against the bark, her hands are against the bark. She can feel it. She's feeling the tree breathe and throb. And we're learning that this is true. The tree feels her. So we're sharing. It's going both ways. She's giving to the tree, and the tree is giving to her. That's so worthwhile. That is so connecting. It really changes your life, and it helps you because the tree will tell you, it's okay, just do what you can, and we'll all get through somehow. And that makes such a difference. So how are we doing? And do I want to share anything else with you? Probably do, but I'm not quite sure what. Let me just have a little look at what we've got here. Well, this isn't my garden, but I like it. It's a lovely annual wildflower meadow. Those are annual plants mostly. And it was somebody's lawn, look. But they've let this happen and helped it to happen, probably sown seeds, all that sort of thing. There's lots of stuff here, and it's all good for pollinators. And a lot of it is at least partially wild. And these are wild. And that is a yellow variation of a wildflower, but it still works for the pollinators. How about you mow a bit less? Yeah, have some space so that you've got a path from here to there, some space to sit. I have that in my garden. But how about letting the rest of it go wild? Because it'll help you go wild, and it'll help you be joyful, and it will inspire you to change how you think and change your habits so that you're doing things to help nature. And the more of us who do that, the more likely nature is going to be able to come back. And we need that. We all need that. So I'm going to leave you with this picture and leave you now. And I will see you again next Monday. So I hope you enjoyed, and please put comments up. Please have a good old listen. Please think whatever, tell me whatever you think, ask me questions, whatever you'd like. And I will see you all next Monday. So bye for now.